Hi, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going on a road trip. I'm going to take you up to the North Country, way up north to the Yukon. We're going to travel along the way, have some great experiences, and I'm going to do a few paintings. Hope you enjoy the trip. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there, so let's get started. Here we are after just getting fueled up. Um, Tim and his rig is closest to us. I'm on the far side. There's me in our trailer and the pickup with canoes. We both got canoes. And here's the stores. Myself and Kathy on the left, and Tim, her brother, and his wife on the right. And then we have supporting cast members, Stella, who goes with us everywhere and all the time. And here's Taffy, our camping cat. Taffy the camping cat. He's no longer with us anymore. She was great to have along. Kathy and Donna have assumed the roles of route planning. And off we go, headed to the Yukon, the far north. Ultimate destination, I think, is Whitehorse. And this is where we entered into British Columbia. This is a Revelstoke ski area in British Columbia. Just incredible country, as you're going to see throughout the whole video. This is the multi-flags of the Williams Lake Visitors Welcome Center on Highway 97, also known as the Caribou Highway. The Fraser River in British Columbia, lots of painting opportunities along the way. Beautiful subject material. We camped along this river. Couldn't find any place else to camp, and so we just take what's available. And it was perfectly comfortable. We made no reservations on this trip at all. Morristown. These are dip netters, indigenous people who have the fishing rights on the Fraser River. Here we stopped at the Kassan village. It's a restored native village. Bears abound up here, so that's to be expected everywhere we went in the North Country. These are some designs. I was gonna say Klingit designs, but I'm not sure that's correct. But it's an old restored native village on the river. Just incredible. The totems, the way the buildings were decorated. Really, really cool graphics. And we're off, headed farther. And coming up on Terrace, British Columbia, this is a place we camped called Fern Island. And we've camped here several times in various trips. Stopped at Prince Rupert, right on the coast. And this is one of the sailing vessels that was moored there. Fishing harbor. We got some halibut in this this fish market and restaurant right here. We ate, and it's right on the water, right on the wharf, fresh caught daily. Now that is a canoe. I mentioned that we had our canoes, and I forget what this was. It was like 35 feet or something. And huge, huge canoe. One of the other stops that was really interesting is the North Pacific Cannery. Now, this was no longer operating, but it has been restored. Belongs to the state of the province of British Columbia, and there's great displays in these buildings. This is a government housing right on the bay. It was quite a cannery back in its day. Great painting opportunities. I've done a painting of the cannery. It's was low tide. It's got one of the this part of the coast has one of the highest tides in North America. Here we have some Arctic poppies, and I forget what the little blue flowers are. Our next stop was Kitimat Bay, and I stopped here on my motorcycle ride, which I'll do another video of. And in fact, I did a painting of this bay. This is a First Nations harbor, marina. This was the view that I had that I chose to paint from. Watercolors, my plein air kits. This is my open box M kit. Very versatile. It's been on a lot of trips with me. I'll have a review of all the paintings I did at the end of this slideshow. This is Kitwanga Junction, um, main point that heads north to Alaska on the Stewart-Kazar Highway. This was an old Russian church, and I'm not sure what the tower was, but it was just incredible, the architecture. We got a camp spot right on the water, Mesiaden Lake. That was our view. First chance to get the canoes out. That's me and Stella. Thought it was a great photo. The silhouettes, light shining through my canoe. My canoe is fiberglass. It's an older one, made in the 60s, and worked for me. Tim's canoe, this is his, and it's a handmade strip canoe, cedar strip, and the design is his design. He pieced it all together. Beautiful work of art. And there's Taffy the camping cat. She or he um, went with us a lot and often got to the point where we could let him loose. This is We Ate Good. This is our Dutch oven setup and a sample of one of the meals. And that's some delicious cornbread baked in a Dutch oven. There is a painting to be made. And that's the one I did at Mesiaden Lake. And we made it to Alaska, which is a little spur of Alaska just off on the west coast of British Columbia. Hyder, Alaska, famous for the bears, the grizzlies in town. Um, fishing in the creek, which will come up. I'll give you a shot of it pretty quick. A unique little community, just renowned for its halibut and its unique lifestyle. It's quite a vehicle. Get around in the wintertime. Track. Oh, it's neat. This is a seafood bus that was just world famous. They happened to be out fishing this particular day, so we didn't get any of our halibut. That's a trading post in Hyder. And this was a stream that's splashing in there is salmon. It was just crazy. No bears, unfortunately. This was a fuel stop at Bell 2 along the Stewart-Cassiar Highway. This fuel stop played a pivotal role when we did this trip on our motorcycles. The Stewart-Cassiar Highway, this is headed north. No frills, no lines, don't need to waste money on them. Highway 37. It's a great way to go north instead of the Alaska Highway. And this is my favorite photo. Like I said, you got to be bear aware. The rabid grizzly. Picturesque, beautiful stuff. And wild blueberries. Oh my gosh. Free for the picking. Our next stop, Boya Lake. And Tim and Donna got out in their canoe. I stood and took some photos and did a painting. This is where we were camped right along the water. And I want you to pay attention to this next slide. There's what we call a camp robber or a jay perched on top of my kit right there. He was watching. And there they are. I love the roads up there. They're long. You're chasing a horizon for a long ways and you can see forever. Our next stop was the Teslin Indigenous Heritage Center in Teslin, Yukon. We spent a night there on our motorcycle trip. There's some ceremonial canoes and found one of the local indigenous artists selling her work there. And I bought a print, support your fellow artists. Great to chat with her. The village of Teslin, old, again, painting material there. Now this is a sourdough at Carcross we camped, and this was for the Chilkoot Trail. That Chilkoot Trail was made famous by the Klondike Rush. The miners had to carry a ton of food up. Or the easier way, but it took longer, was to go over White Pass. And we drove over that. A lot of fires, smoke everywhere. And this is down in the coastal town of Skagway, where the cruise ships came in. And it was quite a spectacle to see. Those cruise ships would come in and land, and the people just pour off. We talked to one of the shop owners. They said it could be thousands of people just show up all of a sudden. This is a view overlooking the Skagway Bay, and they get as many as 4 cruise ships in there at a time. Our next stop was at the little town of Atlin. We had to go back into British Columbia, but it was a great little stop. Boy, this is the wilds of the North Country. First time I'd ever seen a float plane that's used for everyday transportation. This was a tour boat on Atlin Lake. The seaplane over there, very picturesque. There could be another painting. And on down the highway we go, headed toward Whitehorse. Now this is a steamer that was on the Yukon River. It's no longer functioning, no longer running. It's up in dry dock. But we were able to go inside and tour around, take some photos, which I could have put on here, but I had to cut it short somewhere. And the famous Yukon River. And there we are. What a treat to experience this stuff. Now we come to Watson Lake up in Yukon. And that was the first time that we were able to get a camp spot where we could have a campfire. Fire restrictions everywhere, fires everywhere. Smoke was just terrible as we started to head back down south, I guess, and got into the smoke heavy nearby fires. It was just terrible. There's a herd of wild woodland bison, which are probably a third bigger than our American bison here in the lower 48. Camped at Liard Hot Springs, and sometimes you gotta just take what you can get. We had to squeeze into one spot here, but we managed to make it work. And a long boardwalk out to Liard Hot Springs, which has some fame of its own, and just a great, great place. Another great experience. The smoke settling in over the Toad River. And this is the Toad River, Toad Roadhouse. And all those caps, I forget how many it was, 1,000 of them or something. Tonight we stayed at Fort Nelson. The bees were just incredible here. Donna unfortunately had to sit inside. They were bothering her. This is a saloon, restaurant, right at the campground. And things get kind of western up here. I love those rifles for door handles. And the fireweed, gorgeous, everywhere up there. This is Prince George, um, one of the larger cities up in the northern British Columbia, just like a city. We managed to camp at Pruden Lake, just east. We're headed east to pick up the Alaska Highway. More painting opportunities here. It was just absolutely gorgeous. Thanks to my sister-in-law Donna and my wife Kathy for taking photographs for me. We were told when we entered into Alberta, we could tell by Mount Robson, and I said, well, how do we know which mountain Mount Robson is? They said, you'll know it when you see it. Very, very impressive. This was the view from our camp spot. And the next morning, I got out there and did a watercolor from the visitor center parking lot, but the smoke was very thick in the air. Now we're headed down the Columbia ice field. If you ever get the chance, you gotta go at least do that. This is the lodge we came across on the way and stayed there on a motorcycle trip to Alaska. The Jimmy Simpson Trading Post. Unfortunately, no relation. But we sure had a great time staying in this historic lodge. Sits on the banks of Bow Lake, which is the headwaters for the Bow River, which flows down through Alberta over to Saskatchewan, actually. This is the Athabasca River, more of the Canadian Rockies. Big rivers. And this is Athabasca Falls, which I did a painting of, and Tim and Donna wound up buying it from one of our trips up through here. Look at it. Look at the snow up there. Glaciers. Headwaters of the Columbia River. We're back into British Columbia. Wildlife abounds right alongside the road. And here we are back into the US of A. Along the way, we came across this place, Morley Handcrafted Canoes. And since Tim built his canoe, we had to stop here. Just pulled in, just came across it, happened to find it. And the inside was an absolute craftsman paradise. Beautiful handmade canoes, cedar strip canoes, very impressive. We spent that night at Holland Lake. This is in Montana. Just great painting opportunities. Big skies and sunsets. Again, thanks to Donna for the photos she got of me painting. Holland Lake Lodge sitting over there. And the resulting painting. Still a lot of smoke in the air. This is in western Montana, just north of Seeley Lake. I got a chance to get out in the water. Okay, back to shore. Gotta get in before the sun goes down. And we're making the final stretch headed south. Stopped for our last night at Flaming Gorge. This is the camp spot that we had. Another great, beautiful spot there. There's Kathy and her camping buddies, a cat and her dog. And a morning coffee on our final morning before we hook up and head home. Thanks for coming along. Hope you enjoyed it. Well, there you go, folks. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day. And thanks for coming along. Enjoyed the company. If you have any questions about where we went or what we did, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. I'll see you out there somewhere.